doing? Good. You good? All right, good afternoon, everyone. It's 4:30. I'd like to begin by asking you to join me as we rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Tom Eggers. Chantel Ostra. Here. Pete Hamill.
Here.
Ken Snyder.
Here.
Brad Hinn.
Here. Item 2 is the approval of the agenda. I need a motion for that. So moved. Support. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Hamill.
Aye.
Hinn.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Ostra. Aye.
Next item up is the public forum session of our meeting. Is there anyone here that wants to address the council at this time? We do have one written comment. That is from Kerwin Sterler, and he is opposed to the storm sewer tax as a source of revenue. Any other written comments?
No.
Okay. All right, then let's move on to the consent agenda. I'll need approval for that.
So moved.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Ostra. Aye. Hamill.
Aye.
Hinn.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye. Under the old business, Cindy Harpenow had planned to be here to report on Mid-Sioux Opportunity, but she has another engagement involving her husband and his coaching career, a milestone coaching career opportunity, so she will be coming on June 18. Is that right? Okay. So then we will move on to our new business. The first item up there is the approval of the pay estimate number 4 for the Oak Street project in the amount of $25,813. Any further comments you want to make on that, Todd?
Yeah, just a correction. We must have grabbed the wrong number when making the agenda. The pay estimate's actually $54,506.96. The $25,813 actually represents the change order deduct to the contractor, which is part of the final closeout. So, but otherwise, no, contractor came back, made the repairs that we requested, got the seating done. We recommend approval.
Say the amount one more time.
$54,506.96.
And that's with the deduct netted out of that, correct?
That is correct, yeah. Yeah, the contract was reduced by the $25,813.
Okay. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Oh, I don't have a motion.
Oh, we need a motion for that approval. That's right, sorry. So move. Support. Now any questions? All right, roll call, please.
Ostra. Aye. Hamill.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Hinn.
Aye.
All right, next up, it'll be a public hearing on the budget amendment for the fiscal year '25. I'd like to open that hearing now. Is there anyone who would like to comment on that? And again, any written comments?
None.
Okay, a motion to close the public hearing, please.
So moved.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Hamill.
Aye.
Hinn.
Aye.
Ostra. Aye. Snyder.
Aye. All right, under item C, we have a couple of hearings dealing with Children's World. The first is on a proposed...
To approve the budget amendment.
Oh, yep, thank you for keeping me on track here. I want to get out of here.
I sensed that.
So, public hearing, we have the attachments, the amendment breakdown by line and the state form. Any comments you want to make on that? We need approval for that, evidently. Take a motion to approve the budget amendment as presented.
Motion to approve the budget amendment.
Okay. Support for that? Support. Any discussion? Roll call.
Snyder.
Aye.
Hamill.
Aye.
Ostra. Aye. Hinn.
Aye.
Okay, now moving on to the hearing for Children's World. First one is regarding the proposal to enter into a grant agreement with the Sheldon Community Daycare Center and Nursery for the years 2025-26 and 26-27. We'll open that hearing. Is there anyone who wants to speak at this time? Again, no. I'm assuming no written comments either, right?
No.
Motion to close the hearing, please. So move.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Hamel.
Aye.
Hand.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Ostra. Aye.
Do you want to do the resolution separately?
Yeah, we should do them one at a time.
Okay, so then we have a resolution approving that grant agreement. We need to approve that. I'll take a motion for that, please.
Make the motion to approve a resolution.
Support. Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Snyder.
Aye.
Hand.
Aye.
Ostra. Aye. Hamel.
Aye. And then we open up the second hearing for the proposal to enter into the enrollment pilot program grant agreement, again with the Sheldon Community Daycare Center and Nursery School. Anyone wishing to speak to that? Written comments?
None.
Okay. Take a motion to close the hearing. So move.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Ostra. Aye. Hand.
Aye.
Hamel.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
And then another resolution approving that agreement. Someone want to make a motion for that approval? So move.
Support.
Discussion?
If I might.
Yes.
So, and Tanya, feel free to weigh in on this, but we're really excited about this. There's been a lot of time that has been put into this set of agreements. The first set of agreements that was approved a few minutes ago started several years ago already. I think that was a 3-year agreement. This upcoming round is a 2-year agreement, and that's partly because of the uncertainty, with tax increment financing, urban renewal as a funding source. But we believe that this is one of the higher priorities in the state, so we're hopeful that tax increment financing, particularly for this purpose, will continue to be preserved. But what we're about to vote on is a pilot program, and it should not be assumed that it's going to be automatic continuing next year. It depends on the support of the community. So we haven't written it into the agreement as a match. I think that would be inefficient. We tried to make it as non-bureaucratic as possible, but we're really hopeful that the business community will assist with this. They have expressed concerns over the years on the viability of Children's World and making sure that it's a viable organization with enough spots to accommodate children for people returning to the workforce and trying to stay in the workforce. And we believe that Children's World is now a very viable entity. Right, Taylor? More so than ever before. You feel good about where things are headed?
Absolutely. We conversated.
If you could, please, would you come forward, up to the mic, please?
Where we are sitting extremely well. We conversated in our last board meeting on the potential on expanding our center because we are running out of spots. We're almost to capacity, which is a great thing from where we sat a few years ago. Our wait list is down to almost none. We have less than 10 from when I started. We were at 60 kids on our wait list, and so now we're at 10, and the only reason why we can't take those kids in right now is because we're at capacity in those certain rooms. So each room, we can only have so many kids in each room, and yeah, we're full. So ideally, in the next handful of years, we would like to expand our center and just make it bigger. So yeah, we're very appreciative and thankful for the support from our city and to help us grow. But yeah, the families will definitely be overjoyed, and every little bit counts.
All right.
And it's our, if I might, one more thing. And it's our hope too, and you don't have to stay up if you want, but and it's our hope too that the you know, that the business community stepping up will help buy down not only the infant rate, but also everybody else's rate. Because if we could have afforded to, we would be trying to do this for all of the spots, but it's really only practical with the funding needs, the other needs that the city has, and the desire to see a match from the business community is to fund the 28 infant positions, because those are the ones that are the most important, at least returning to work after having a child. So hopeful that this works out, but the message is, and I don't know if you have anything to add, Tanya, but we want to encourage businesses to not only buy down the infant rates, but the other rates for their employees as well. And the number of 2,080 sounds like an odd number, but it's $1 an hour, so in the working year. And I understand that you plan on issuing it in terms of a credit each billing cycle or each week, correct? And payments come each week. That's when the billing happens. Okay.
If I may, I did just want to address a question that we also had last council meeting, of meeting and conversing with our business community and some of those businesses that may not be in Sheldon but need these services for their employees as well. We have identified the top 5 employers that use Children's World, and we are making an effort to communicate with them. Some meetings have been set up already so that we can actually sit down and discuss the pilot program and hopefully achieve that match.
All right. All right, is there any other questions from the council or further discussion? Then we can take roll call, please.
Hint.
Aye.
Ostra. Aye. Hamel.
Aye.
Snyder.
All right.
All right, then let's move on to the first reading of the ordinance amendments regarding water. And the ordinance that goes with that. Any comments from you?
I'll stand by for questions.
Okay. Todd, anything you want to add to this discussion?
Just that this was talked about at budget time. This follows the rate study that we had completed a number of years ago. On the water side of things, this represents an average of a 6.5% increase. So all the fees follow that except for 9214. We increased the shut-off and turn-on fee, and 9209. We also increased the shut-off fees there for delinquent payments.
Okay.
Otherwise, yeah, stand for questions.
Are there any questions at this time from the council? Okay. Then if we could have approval of the first reading?
Make a motion, no. I'll
Take one of those as support. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Ostra. Aye. Hint.
Aye.
Snyder.
All right.
Hamel.
Aye.
Okay, and then moving on, the same, the other side of the coin probably, if you would, first reading of the ordinance amending the sewer rates, and again, it's pretty much the same as the water.
Yeah, yep, same thing. It is both sides were a cost of service study, so there are some areas that are higher and lower, but 4% average, average user anyway.
Okay. Any questions for Todd? And then I'll take a motion to approve the first reading.
So move. Support.
Roll call, please.
Ostra. Aye. Hint.
Aye.
Hamel.
Aye.
Snyder.
All right.
All right, now we move on to the ordinance implementing a stormwater fee. First reading of that, I'd like to open that, or consider that reading. We talked about this in our budget planning. That was the, kind of the handwriting on the wall, as I recall, at that time. Any other comments, Todd, that you want to make at this time?
Just that, yeah, we talked about it at budget time. I think at budget time, we kind of floated the idea of a flat fee. feeling we got from the council is that flat fee maybe wasn't quite the way to go, and that the fee that we had proposed, which was, I think we threw out the number of $2, was maybe a little light because of the amount of revenue that it would produce. So Sam and Angie and I looked at a bunch of different ordinances, selected this one. There's a lot of different ways to figure up stormwater fees. We chose to go by meter size. It's adaptable. It should be easy to use with our software. Is it perfect? No, but there's not necessarily a perfect way. Typically, if it's a bigger user that has more roof line, more impervious surface, they're also going to have more than one meter account, so they're going to get more than one charge, or they'll have much larger meters, hence then their fees get higher. So 91% of our customers, if you adopt this ordinance, will receive a $3 fee. So the bulk of our customers, it would be $3 monthly fee. I've provided you a list of storm sewer things that we have. I think it's kind of fun facts. I don't know how many people realize that we have 500 stormwater intakes and 12, 13 miles of stormwater pipe out there. Obviously, that system is not as robust as and extensive as our water and sanitary sewer system, but there's still a lot of things out there to maintain. And currently, those are getting, robbed from other areas. It's just not sustainable for the long term in staff safety. So from there, I'll stand for questions.
We talk about aging infrastructure. Some of that stuff, how old does that get, or is there an average age you can throw a number at?
It's all over the place, but some of it has got to have 100 years on it. So it doesn't probably owe us a lot at this point, but it is time to refresh it. Yeah.
So, any other questions for Todd?
Have you always had an ongoing plan for upgrading, the older, or is it come out of necessity?
We've been spending money on storm sewer every year that I've ever been around. I mean, there's always maintenance, and there's always some replacement. It's just that replacement cost is getting higher and higher, and storm sewer is no different than any other service the city provides. It comes at a cost. That cost is getting to be. We've utilized TIF for some storm sewer projects, and we will again in this next fiscal year. But that only works in certain areas. That also only works if those funds are available. Road use tax has been funding the bulk of our stormwater improvements. And road use tax is one of our accounts that also struggles. So this will help out if this is adopted, this would help out our road use fund immensely. Something that I guess would be new to this, there would be some new accounts that need to get set up. And if you adopt this ordinance, please bear with us just a little bit. The metered accounts are going to be pretty easy, we think, to have up and active by the 1st of July if you adopt. The unmetered accounts, an example of that, I'm not picking on any certain class, but think about a block of storage units. They have no water account, they have no sewer account, yet they have a fair amount of impervious surface, and they're adding to the stormwater system. Right now, they're not contributing to the stormwater. Obviously, they are through tax base, but that's it. So in this case, we would be setting up, in this proposal, we would be setting up new accounts for them, and they would get a monthly stormwater bill as proposed of $12. Quick assumption, there might be 70, 80 of those out there.
Yeah, because that was a question I had, was about those type of buildings.
Yeah, we feel like they should contribute as our.
Because
as our
they're contributing just as much rooftop water than
If
a
not
house
more.
across the street does, if not more.
Hence the the suggested $12 fee.
So conceivably, could they put in a meter and get it down to $3?
you'd have minimums.
Minimum.
Conceivably, yes, if they want to spend thousands of dollars to run in a new service line and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really not practical
Yeah.
either, it's just,
but there's a loophole in every system.
yep, seems fair.
Yeah.
So what is the average rate of a person's water and sewer bill a month?
So that's a loaded question because there's so many different users, but I'll
Number
give,
of households and how people live in.
yeah, but I'll tell you this. So if you assume 3,500 gallons of usage, should be a small household, then your average water bill, I had that written down somewhere because I was afraid somebody was going to ask that question. No, that's how much it was. So your average, that's where it was. The average sewer would be 51.55, and the average water would be around $30, $25. So you're talking about $85, $90 for just, understand that's just water sewer. And I'm in the ballpark, ain't I, Angie?
Yeah, but you gotta add just shy of 20 for garbage.
Right. So the minimum, if you go back to the water ordinance, the minimum bill will go up $1.65, the average bill will go up $2.28. Sewer side, the minimum bill will go up $1.20, and the average will go up $1.70 at 35. But that's different than the storm sewer. What are you trying to get at, Brad?
I just wondered what the additional costs were gonna be for, with the 10.5% rate. I just calculated you're gonna have about $430 a month increase.
$3.98 is what I figured on the app for 3,500 usage.
Oh,
'Cause it's-
I thought that was $35 minimum, okay.
No, and it's not, you can't take the 6.5 and add it to the 4. Because a portion of your bill is 6.5% increase and a portion of
Yeah,
your
and I
bill,
was dividing it out.
yeah. So no, the average bill is gonna go up, should go up around $3.98. The water sewer increases, and then the stormwater fee, as I said before, 91%. Majority of our households would be $3. When you look at the ordinance, you think, sheesh, $30 a month for those 6-inch meters. There's 2 of those in our system.
Yeah,
$25 a month for 4-inch meters. There's 2 of those in our system. There's not many of
No.
those out there. As an example, the first class, the 5/8 and 3/4, there's about, I'm terrible at math, but just call it 2,400 of those.
Okay. Like I said at the beginning, the handwriting is on the wall, has been on the wall. Something I think we just have to do, or we're gonna be in a bigger hole down the road. So, any other questions?
I guess I have one more comment, if that's, I'd like to make a comment. My comment would be, to expand on Todd's point, is that, we have worked over the last several years to try to have various needs try to fund themselves just a little bit more. And there's still going to be a significant need out of urban renewal, for example. I think it was one year that we had, was it $800,000 in drainage projects?
We do it this upcoming fiscal year.
Is that this coming?
Yeah.
Because that includes Wyman and 16th and a few other things. Yeah, so,
Yeah.
so we are making pretty wise use of that, but there is also a lot of other need in urban renewal as well. So It's just one comment that I had to make is that for a while we can continue to do things as we have been doing, but eventually we run into some funding walls, and we're preparing for that. And Todd, you and I were talking about this the other day, where how large is you're putting it in context. This would raise maybe $100,000 a year for starters, and one of your other utilities talk about that for a minute. Was over $1 million. You're putting it in context on how large your other utilities are compared to...
Oh, yeah, estimated revenue for water is like 1.6 million, and estimated revenue for wastewater is 1.7. And actually, water would be 1.9 by the time you count our sales to the other places that we're selling excess Lewis and Clark water.
That's all I have.
Okay. Anything further?
And I do recommend at least 2 readings on this, so this would be just the first reading on all 3 of these.
So we need to approve the first reading, and we'll move it on to the second reading. That would be at the first meeting in June.
Yeah, the other 2 are already headed there.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that will give the time for people to understand what it's about, because a lot of people don't know what it is about.
Right.
That's what I heard, a lot of comments of what's this all about, and that, so.
I should maybe clarify, unimproved properties, so if it's just farm ground or bare grassland, you know, a lot that you own or something, that would not get a charge. And if you have 2 meters, and what I mean by that is if you have a water sewer home meter and then you have a water-ing meter, this would only apply to the water sewer meter.
Okay.
As proposed, unless you tell us different.
All right. Someone want to make a motion to approve the first reading?
So move.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Hamel.
Aye.
Snyder.
All right.
Hen.
Aye.
Ostra. Aye.
That was enthusiastic.
All right. Next item up is resolutions regarding the ambulance positions for Lori Watson and Kate Stewart. As far as approving it, we'll do that as one motion for both. Is there anyone that want to make comments regarding this or has questions as far as the council is concerned? Hearing nothing, then would someone please make a motion to approve the resolutions for the offer letters to Lori Watson and Kate Stewart?
So move.
Support.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Hen.
Aye.
Ostra. Aye. Hamel.
Aye.
Snyder.
All right.
Is that better?
All right, let's move on then to reports of our meeting. First up, we have Joel Gasink with Gasink Vanderbilt Insurance with us. Welcome, Joel.
Good to be here. I will keep this nice and brief for you guys.
All right.
So just here to update you guys on the 2 policies that the city provides. Both are up for renewal here July 1st. The first one is with Unum, which covers the city employees. It provides life and disability insurance. We have been with Unum for going on 7 years here. This is our first increase that we've had in 5 years, but it is going up 7%, which we don't like, but in today's market, that's kind of what we're seeing a little bit here. The policy provides for $50,000 worth of life insurance, $50,000 of accidental death, and around 60% if somebody comes disabled, of 6% of salary. Then we kind of looked at changing some of those figures and updating them a little bit. Unfortunately, Unum wouldn't guarantee us a 2-year rate guarantee if we made any changes, so we kind of said, well, we'll lock in what we have for 2 years here then, and maybe revisit that at the next renewal cycle. We've been very satisfied. We've had some claims here from employees over the past few years, and everything was covered and paid out as it should have been. So we've been very satisfied and happy with how Unum's provided service with us. There is some voluntary coverage as well that the employees can buy up, and quite a few do take advantage of that, and those rates haven't changed at all either. The other policy is for volunteer members of ambulance, firefighters, and EMA. The city since 2020 has provided a life insurance benefit to them, kind of as a recruitment retention, and as well as cover them like they should be. But those rates are staying the same, and they offered a 3-year rate guarantee for us as well on that. That provides $25,000 of flat coverage for all volunteers, $25,000 of death, accidental death coverage, and another $25,000 of line of duty coverage. So, you know, if you check all the boxes, that's $75,000 worth of coverage. Again, there's no rate change on that one, and locked in for 3 more years here. So, appreciate working with the city on this and providing the service for the members and volunteers, and working with Sam and Angie here. So, any questions that you guys have for me at all on this?
Anyone? Thanks, Joel.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have a presentation from Sheldon High School CAPS team. Cindy is with us today. Oh, Landon's going to take care of that.
Sorry to get me, I guess. Landon Light with Beck Engineering. Just wanted to present some information here tonight. We've been working with Olivia Pruitt, a high school student, in Sheldon here, on a potential project. We've drafted some schematic drawings and a cost estimate, and met with Sam and Todd a couple weeks ago. If you recall, in December, the CAPS team had presented a concept for a monument and park and landscape improvements at the corner of 3rd Avenue and Highway 18. At that time, following that meeting, it was requested that we continue the development of this and move into some schematic drawings and cost estimation. So that's when Olivia has joined us. We've been working with her for a few hours each week, all semester long. She's joined us in our office with assistance from myself, Mike Cedar, our landscape architect, and a few others amongst our team. We have developed some schematics and a cost estimate. I do have some handouts for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
You can give mine to Justin over here. I've already got it. So I'll keep this brief. Just want to touch on a few points on what we have developed here. But as you'll see, the first few pages are some concept renderings that we've prepared. The overall goal of the project, working with Olivia and the previous CAPS team, was to provide a focal point coming into Sheldon on Highway 18 from the west. So this monument here, this brick arch, with a welcome sign on it, is facing the northwest direction through the intersection of Highway 18 and 3rd Avenue. To kind of dress the site up a little bit, we've incorporated some concrete sidewalks, some landscape pavers, kind of a center planter there with some benches, and then everything is surrounded by some spruce and pine trees, and the property bordered with a 6-foot-high wood slat fence. So this is kind of what we've worked through. We worked through multiple iterations of a layout, and Olivia and I kind of had decided on this layout, and this is what we had met with Sam and Todd about a couple weeks ago. After the renderings, you'll see, and Chantel. After the renderings, you'll see a 2D site plan. This is just showing in plan view the proposed layout on the property itself. It shows the limits of the property lines. This would require, it's worth noting, would need to go through the variance process to build that brick arch structure. You'll see there the setback limits, with this being zoned arterial commercial and being a very small parcel. The buildable limits for the zoning code are very small. So this would require a variance for that structure to go in. Otherwise, that's really all I have. We have a planning plan there, plant schedule, describing the different species of perennials and the older story trees in the background. Then did we want to touch on cost a little bit, Sam? Sure. The cost estimate for this concept right now, and this certainly could be dialed back, scaled back with some of the features that we have here. But we've landed at a schematic preliminary cost estimate of $146,000. That does include a 10% contingency factor, which would be common on all of our preliminary estimates, just to cover any unknowns that may come in the process.
Landon, are you aware of any grants, statewide, local, or otherwise, that this might qualify for?
I am not. I could talk with some members of our team to identify some potential opportunities out there that we could apply for.
Pardon me? I think Main Street we went through, if it's Main Street like what we went through 15, 20, 10 years ago, there's a lot more parameters that you have to fall under to make that happen.
Say, this week I seen something come out about the marketing committee had grant deadline.
Yeah, I think it's June 30.
So I don't know if that,
Yeah.
I would think that would be, could fall into there being tourism.
Did you see anything about private donations or anything like that?
We didn't discuss any private donations. That could certainly be an option, you know, to fund
Fundraisers or
portions.
something?
Right. Yep. And we haven't so much discussed how the project would be funded. At this point, it was working with the CAPS program on a project that was brought to them, and then developed the schematic plan and just bringing it to the city for consideration.
From the initial three or four gentlemen, that high school students that worked on this with the concept, and
Yeah,
it's now taken off from there.
Connor and Eddie.
Okay. It's just interesting and very rewarding, I guess, for me to see this process moving along. Olivia, do you have any comments you'd like to make about this project as far as your involvement with it? I don't want to put you on the spot, but...
I have one question, Olivia. Was it fun? Okay.
I was thinking the same thing.
Come forward, please, if you would.
As a mother and as the CAPS instructor, I really do appreciate the support the city's given on this. Olivia is interested in a career in architecture and design, and so the ability for her to be able to work with experienced professionals with the software, it was
it was a stretch for her. You know, it was definitely a stretch, but I think it's going to be something that I know that the CAPS team and Olivia too, when if this comes to fruition, I think it'll be something, and they'll be able to come into town or drive through town and see that there and know that they had that impact on their community. So I am very excited about this and very appreciative of the council's support of this work.
One question, Olivia, how many hours did you spend working on this? Do you have any idea?
3 hours a week for since February? January.
It was in January through the end of, through May. She was there. So
3
Olivia
hours
is a
a
study
week.
student at the high school, so she has her first and second periods open.
Okay.
She actually split her time between Landon and Tanya at the chamber office. So 2 days a week she was working with Landon at Beck for that time, and then the other day she was working.
So upwards of maybe 60 hours,
I would say,
guessing.
yeah.
Well, thank you for that, first of all. And again, it's just, I'm excited about this, and it fits in with the, one of our goals that we came out of the goal-setting session of improving that corridor. It's dovetails in so nicely with that. And I think something like this can spawn further development, further improvement of that corridor, but this is a great start. Where it goes from here, I don't know at this point, but it's just another step in that process, and thank you for your roles in that, all of you. Any other comments or questions from the council?
Does the 146 Landon include the you know what, you and I had negotiated a few $1,000s on the design, which we're taking care of, but there was 146, does that include the supervision and the construction engineering and taking it to final?
Sure. The 146,000 is just the construction cost estimate. That
Okay.
would not include design fees, or construction administration and inspection fees,
Okay,
which would,
okay.
So, going back to my question about grants and, or that you're aware of, does the meter continue to run for something like that?
For
For seeking grants or, funding for this?
Sure. No, not necessarily. I mean, we would be able to do some research and find some potential grant opportunities, with little to no cost.
Okay. You've got the marketing as a possibility. Yes, if we could give them that exposure to that, that would be a good thing, I think. So,
Well, if I might,
Yeah.
one last thing. So if there's general buy-in on, and this is on the report section for a reason, because it was not really ready to be voted on, but if there's general consensus with moving forward, there's two next steps. One would be taking the concept to the Board of Adjustment. Probably too soon to try to get it on the June 11 Board of Adjustment, because we're just about ready to post that meeting. So I think that might be rushing it, but city and city council could sponsor the Board of Adjustment application since it's a city lot, so we could do that hearing process. And then regarding funding, Angie and I are pretty conservative with how we fund from urban renewal, and there's a potential, not a promise, but a potential that there might be some funding available later this year, but we wouldn't really know that for sure until the October payment comes in. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, that's fair.
So it'd be best to plan to set the right expectations to plan for the 26-27 budget, but then if the funding comes in okay in October, November, we may be able to do a budget amendment and do it sooner. But seems like we could run this through the Board of Adjustment this summer or this fall, if there's consensus.
Because I'm not familiar with the process, so it revolves on getting the project approved for the Board of Adjustment first, and once it's approved, then we can look at how we're going to fund it.
Well, I think a lot of these things can run concurrently. I mean, there's no reason, in my opinion, why you couldn't go get pledges and start raising funds now. And worst case scenario, the money could be refunded, but I see no reason why you couldn't get started on the process. You also want to respect the process and, the neighbors, but if anything, this will add value to the neighbors' properties and add value to the whole neighborhood, so. But we do need to go through the hearing process, so everybody would be notified.
I guess as we go through this, and I keep coming back to Playground Paradise 30 years ago with the volunteer project, and I don't think you can have volunteers put up a brick arch or 4 sidewalks, but there's fence there, there's trees there, there's flowers there, there's landscaping, there's pavers that could be laid maybe. If we could dovetail that in even with, and make it a volunteer project where we get community members involved in some way, shape, or form. I mean, there's a lot of ways this could go right now, but we need some sense of direction.
Sure. Yeah,
But-
that's a good point. I mean, if the infrastructure was installed, and the planting beds there with maybe mulch initially, and there was, volunteer efforts to plant the plantings, potentially dress up some of those final items, that would be a good option.
Where are your thoughts of the rest of the council? I've been kind of doing most of the talking, but
I'd say move on with that.
Yeah, I
Keep
think
the
we
ball
ought to
rolling.
push ahead
We
with the
have
effort. It'd be a
consensus.
really nice addition to the entrance, yeah.
So we have consensus for me to work up the hearing item for the Board of Adjustment, move through that process.
Yes.
that might be to me, I wonder if that gets the cart a little bit ahead of the horse, but like you said, there's no reason they couldn't run concurrently, so.
Now,
I'm fine with
the
it.
Board of Adjustments approval is required for the structure. There's like 3 inches of this lot where you could actually build on because of the setbacks, so.
Correct.
Yeah, it's been cool to just get in on bits and pieces of this and, meeting with Connor and Eddie way back when and hearing their ideas and them asking for information and then seeing the pictures of the project all put together, from what the sketch was to what it is now. And so I'm super excited about it. And like I told Todd, I'd like to pretty up every corner in this town, so I'm...
Well, if you remember when Connor and Eddie came to us, they tried to pin me down and say, what do you want there? I wouldn't tell them. First of all, I didn't really know, but I didn't want to guide it too much. We wanted them to come up with something, so this is good.
Yeah, and the arch idea I think is cool to just continue with that, so. Yeah.
All right, any other comments from the council on this?
Keep the ball rolling.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. Sam, anything further from you?
Well, my regular report speaks for itself, the strategic planning update. We can touch on that briefly. First of all, any questions on my regular report? Okay. Strategic planning outcomes, this is the same document you saw in December with the outcomes, and then that ties into what we were just talking about a minute ago. And now we'll move on to talk about parks planning. So Beck Engineering provided us with 3 sample plans: Lake Park, Orange City, Spirit Lake. There are plans out there that look at a city's entire park system and then just parks within that. To avoid a boil the ocean scenario where we're trying to look at all of them, seems like the best course of action would be to start with either City Park or Hills Park, get a quote on an updated strategic plan for one of those parks. Look at the other one right after that, but I think if you try to do 2 or all the 5, we try to look at all of them, it's really too much. So we'd just like to have your guidance. Don't have to make a decision today. That's why it's on the report section, but would like to get your input if you have any.
So,
We do have funding. Sorry to interrupt.
well, the Tier 1.29 is evaluate the condition of the park system and park playground equipment, park maintenance levels, and create an improvement plan. Have we done an evaluation at this point?
Well, we've done a
A formal evaluation?
Not formal. I mean, we've done an informal. I mean, we know that, for example, that the playground at Hills or City Park is 33 years old and probably needs to be redone. We know that there's some access issues, some bathroom issues, shelter house issues at both Hills Park and City Park. We have done some nice improvements at both. Both are fairly modest improvements and probably could use more. You know, if you look at broad-ranging solutions, you could put in an entire new playground, invest a lot of money at City Park. Hills Park is the same, especially if you get into electrical service and plumbing and that sort of thing for the campsites. So it could become quite a plan.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we think sticking to one or two parks is probably a good idea. So Todd and Chantel and I had kind of an informal committee discussion the other day, and that was our consensus, was to start with one of those parks. I think City Park was the one that we came up with. But
Well, the reason I ask is I talked to somebody today, a local citizen that was in the store, and he was asking about the master park plan that was put together in the Crossroads development and where things were at with that. And I told him about this goal of ours and the park and a master, we were going to try and analyze and determine. And so I guess based on that conversation, I'm left wondering, is fixing up, improving Hills Park or City Park the better option, or do we put something on bare ground where there is no park, but we have a plan for it?
well, I'm going from memory here, but my memory, and you two jump in, but anybody else too, but my memory is that when we discussed this last fall, one of the options was to move forward with the master plan, and through the consensus process, the six of you chose not to go that route right now and to focus on the older parks first. That's what I remember.
You still have to address your old parks, even if you build a new park. So I think we got to address our current parks, update them before we go build something new.
In the last 2 months, I've had several community members talk to me about our city park and what's going to happen with that. And so that was like, when the three of us talked, my suggestion was to start with the city park. Not to say that we have to put everything else on hold. I think everything needs addressing, but I would agree with Sam that in our discussion, I thought we tabled everything out at Crossroads for now to focus on our current parks.
Okay. All right, we have an answer at least.
Well, I will work with Landon then on a plan, and we'll bring it back forward. So let's talk tomorrow or next week.
All right, that all you have?
And City Park, right? City Park, that's the consensus?
I think to start with, it's a
Yeah.
starting point. I think we need to just start somewhere and get the ball rolling, so.
It definitely needs an upgrade.
I was like this big when that was built, and I'm no longer that big,
I
so.
remember playing on that equipment too,
Yeah.
so,
It was installed in 1993. It's Playground Paradise.
Yep, that's right.
It's just tired and needs some assistance.
Yeah, I had someone contact me about it also, saying that it needed some help, that it's popular and people use it, but it's getting to be,
Getting pretty ragged.
yeah.
Well, and if you look at like some of our community events, Celebration Days, there's a huge event that happens there and kids are running around, and I just think, I don't know, I just think it's time to look at that and see what we need to do about it, so.
Okay. Anything else from you?
No, sir.
All right. Todd, anything further from you?
Well, since we're on the subject of parks, I should probably mention that this winter we received an anonymous donation. They wanted to provide us with a feature that went in a park near a trail. So members of the park board and members of the trails board have been working together to define what the play feature would be and where it would go in a park near a trail. In solution was Sunrise Park, mainly because it's both in a park and near a trail, and we have the new volleyball courts that will go into action out there this year that Trevor and Evan got the grant for last year. So that structure has been ordered. It'll probably won't be here until August, but there will be a new play feature going in Sunrise Park late this summer.
Just to clarify, that's the park out by the village?
That's the park by the village in the courtyard, yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So what is there now currently, there's one swing set, one small open shelter house, and then we just added the, there's restrooms, and then we just added the sand volleyball court. And the sand volleyball court's first operation will be this summer.
It's going to be a unique situation. I didn't know we could publicly announce it yet, but I'm on
It's an
that
anonymous,
committee.
well, we ordered it, so I think we
Okay.
probably better.
Good. It's going to be extremely unique.
All right, anything else?
No.
Okay, Tanya, anything for you today?
Yes, I did just want to briefly touch on that property that we approved the permit for burning at the last council meeting. The SCDC will soon be sharing more information and listing that property. We will be seeking proposals for development. The property is about 1 acre in size, and kind of keeping along the theme of corridor improvement. We are excited for this project as well, and hope to have a good project proposal.
Okay. Eric, anything from you today? All right, Angie?
No, thank you.
Council to my left, anything?
Yes, I had a couple elderly ladies approach me about their journey every Sunday morning to Hy-Vee after church, and they go down Union, and Union allows both parking on both sides of the street. We have 3 to 4 other churches in town that have parking allowed on one side of the street, no parking on the other side, and they would like us to look into that. Because they said it's challenging once in a while to get down that street. So I said I would bring it up at the council meeting, and we can do with whatever we would like.
Near Emmanuel on the north end.
Over at Emmanuel, coming down Union. I said I would bring it up at the council meeting, and the council can decide the direction we want to go.
All right.
Because the Reformed Church has it on Washington, 9th Street. Christian Reformed Church has it, the Lutheran Church has, so. I think Methodist also does, yep.
Right, those are
Faith community.
Limited Sundays only, yep. So,
Okay, anything else from council to my left?
Faith community, not Methodist.
Chantel, anything?
Sorry.
Or anything else, Brad?
no,
Okay.
Faith
Anything from
Community,
you, Chantel?
Ken corrected me.
Yeah.
All right, the only comment I have, several letters went out for lawns and violation of weeds and extra long grass. It's that time of year, so just a note, and hopefully the media will help out with this, is to maintain those lawns, keep those weeds down if at all possible, keep the community looking good. Pardon me?
Sounds like a good editorial.
So,
I like pretty corners, so.
and I have nothing further, so if we could have a motion to adjourn. Did you make that?
Support.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Ken?
Aye.
Ostrov?
Aye.
Hamel?
Aye.
Snyder?
All right.